Hello everyone, I'm Mike. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to take cuttings, specifically Griselinia littoralis. This will work for most other plants, but I really like Griselinia. I find it a really nice plant to grow, especially as it's one that I've found a very good method to root, and in my opinion, it's a great plant. So there's many different ways of taking a cutting, and this is by no means the method to do. This is just what I've been taught and what I personally find to work best. I have tried lots of different methods over the last couple of years, and this is by far the most efficient method that I have found. So if you were to imagine this is your plant, your Griselinia plant that you're taking cutting from, you could just go in anywhere on the plant and go like that, and that would be fine. You've pruned the plant, and pruning the plant in theory should help the plant to grow, and you've also got a cutting. But there is a much better way to do this, because by pruning this like this, you can see I've left a piece here completely exposed with no leaf on it. Leaving it like this would actually cause damage to the plant and wouldn't really be helping it at all. So how you should take a cutting from a plant, if you're going to do it properly and you want to actually help the plant, is go slightly, directly above a leaf node like this. And now you can see the cut is level with this branch. So this would grow up, and this would actually help the plant. It would not rot off, because leaving a piece like that, if it were to rot off, the rot would actually enter the plant potentially and cause a lot of damage to it. So it's very important to have a level cut with the newest growth. This will heal over much easier, much quicker, stop any infections from getting in, and also it will help the plant to regrow from this piece, as there's meristems here that will actively regrow. So now you know how to take a cutting from a plant. How do you prepare the cutting to root? This sounds like a silly thing to say, but there are many different mistakes that people can make when they're trying to root a cutting. So firstly, you need to decide what time of year you're going to take your cutting. If you're taking it in the middle of the winter, you're going to want to do a hardwood cutting. You won't be able to find much else. You could possibly get away with a semi-ripe if you find them, but I recommend if you're in the middle of winter, you want to take a hardwood cutting. So a hardwood cutting is exactly as it sounds. It is literally where the plant has become woody so that it won't bend, and a good way to tell is whether or not it will bend. And you can see further out I go to newer growth, the plant's beginning to bend. So from about here onwards, you've got a semi-ripe cutting, and then from here down, you've got a hardwood cutting. Semi-ripe you can do pretty much any time of the year, and I find them to be very successful. But how do you prepare your cutting to root efficiently? So you've got a plant like this. This would make a nice cutting, it's a decent size. You don't want a cutting to be too big, as they can dry out quite easily. What I would do if I wanted to prepare this to root is firstly remove most of the leaves, actually, like this. Probably even get away with completely cutting this off and this off, making sure to get a very clean cut. So there you go. So you're literally left with a few leaves, and then I would even cut any larger leaves like this in half, because these will transpire and they can actually lose an awful lot of water. You could put this in the ground and it would most likely root, and it would be very successful. But if you want to prepare it properly, you would take another piece like this. You would actually prepare the cutting and cut it, once it's off the plant, directly below a leaf node or piece of growth. Then remove this like that. You do this because any nutrients that would have been in the plant to help grow out this section of the plant will be stored just here. And by cutting it like this, you're also increasing the surface area from which the plant can root. So you're giving it more nutrients, and you're allowing it to take up more water and giving it more space to actually root from. And again, just you'd remove the majority of the leaves, any lower branches. This isn't a branch, obviously, this is just a small twig, but if you're doing a hardwood cutting, any smaller pieces, any larger branches, things like that, on something like this, just any small leaves towards the bottom, cutting them like this. Cutting the leaves in half. Any damaged leaves, so for example, this has actually been damaged by some kind of pest, you would want to remove this, as this can actually do more harm than good. This particular piece has actually been damaged quite a bit by different pests, so I'm going to have to remove quite a few leaves. But there we go. You're now left with a nice healthy cutting, and by cutting it directly below a node, you've got higher surface area to root from and more nutrients. And once again, this would be a very good cutting to root. But you could be even more efficient with it and scrape away the bottom centimetre of the plant like this with a clean sharp blade, just to expose this green layer underneath like this. In fact, I'll go too far to show you what it looks like. So like this. So you're going down to a green layer, if the camera will pick it up. If you've gone to this, you expose the actual wood, basically, the inner cell structure of the plant. This isn't going to root, but if you go just ever so lightly, the camera unfortunately won't pick it up, but you go to this just green layer. Now this is the Meristem Layer. They're the equivalent of a human stem cell, and they don't know what they're going to be yet. So by exposing them, when you place them into your pot of compost and there's moisture and it's dark, they sort of go, right, I need to be a root. There's moisture, it's very dark here. Being a root would be the best thing for the plant. So it would then actually grow a root, in theory. However, there are many things that can kill off your cutting before it gets to this stage. So you want to use some kind of rooting hormone. You don't have to, but it does help them root much more efficiently. So in a future video, I will be doing a quick experiment with honey and rooting powder. So just for the purpose of this video though, I'll just use rooting powder, as this is the standard thing that most people would tell you to use elsewhere. This particular cutting is likely to rot off because I've exposed the white layer underneath. So I wouldn't actually take this, but the cutting I took before, I would just adjust this below the leaf node, like that, scrape away the surface, like this, and you want to do it right to the bottom. Taking it to the bottom is very key, as this is going to make the root structure much stronger. Doing it slightly above won't really make a difference. And again, you don't want to go too far up the plant for the same reason. So now you'd add your rooting powder like this, and then just tap it off. You do not need much. So see, that's just covered the exposed areas, and that's all you need. If you were to place the cutting into the pot like this, it would wipe off all of the rooting powder you've just put on. So instead you want to make a hole with your finger, place the cutting in, and then actually firm the soil around the cutting like this. By doing this, you're stopping the cutting from moving around. This could disrupt the rooting process. So a pot like this, I'd want to put anywhere between 8 and 10 cuttings in the pot to completely fill it. And as you can see, I've got perlite and I've got multi-purpose compost in this pot. Sort of a 3-to-1 mixture, 3 parts multi-purpose, 1 part perlite. Perlite is brilliant because it provides drainage, but it also helps the plant to hold water, and it actually holds moisture in the soil. Sounds contradictory, I know, but it is genuinely what it does. It is a brilliant thing to add to any substrate, especially for cuttings, as this is exactly what they need. They don't want to sit in water, they'll rot, but they do need moisture. So by doing this, you're helping the plant, giving it the best chance to root. You could just do this in a 9cm pot and have 1-2 cuttings, but they don't shelter each other as well, and any weather condition on a small piece like this is extreme, really. So by filling the pot, you're also helping to shield from the wind and the sun a little bit, and just protecting the whole group of cuttings. So a cutting would have to be the same size, so I couldn't have one like this and then just put that in the pot and, you know, job done. 2 completely different size cuttings, and one's gonna outcompete the other for any nutrients that are in the soil, and this will mean that you've got varied development along your plants. So instead, what you want to do is have all of your cuttings around the same size, so literally just sticking out the pot. You don't want any of the leaves to touch the soil because they'll rot, but you don't want too much space between the leaf and the soil. So anywhere between sort of this space is ideal. Past that, you're just really just wasting space and making a cutting that could be too big to root. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it's helped you, and if it has, please let me know in the comments. Also, any questions, feel free to ask. Bye for now.